Hi, Joe and Mary. My name is Caleb Freiberger, and I work with American Income. I'm a member of the Office and Professional Employees International Union Local 277. As I mentioned on the phone, your Teamsters group set some things up for you. And first, let me tell you a little bit about who will be explaining this to you. I was a full-time mechanic before I switched industries to insurance, so I understand the value and difficulty of blue-collar work. My grandfather was a union mechanic, and my cousin is currently a union welder. So I've seen the value of union benefits firsthand, and I'm excited to work with people like yourself who really understand what it means to put their blood, sweat, and tears into providing for their family, and I plan to help you do just that. For the last 70 years, we've been approved to work through over 20,000 labor unions, credit unions, and associations. Things like teachers, firefighters, police, veteran groups, and even the NFL Players Association. We're also the only company that has a labor advisory board with over 40 international union presidents. So you can see your Teamsters presidents right up there. They have me covering some things with you today that you're absolutely going to love, but they also have me covering some things with you today that you're not really going to want to hear. Either way, I'm going to be honest with you. Is it okay if I'm honest with you? Great. Now, whether you like unions or not, their job is to negotiate wages, benefits, and working conditions for their workers. So with that, the experience and advice was huge for what has been set up for you. Members love it, and hopefully you can qualify for everything. All I ask is for you to stop me if you have any questions, and at the end I'll have you fill out this officer report form. So while I get this set up, let me ask you, how's work going? And how long have you been a part of the union? What do you do for them? And how'd you get into that line of work? What does your family do for a living? Is there anything I can report back to the union? Are you getting the full 40 or any overtime? Mary, what do you do for work? Any kids, brothers, sisters? What do you guys like to do for fun? So this is your first no-cost benefit, the AIL Plus card. Let me ask you, who do you have for your health insurance? Okay, well this is going to work hand in hand with them. Do you wear glasses or contacts? Okay, and is that genetic? The next benefit is designed to help lower your out-of-pocket expenses, and it will not affect your existing health coverage. You can receive discounts of up to 80% off on vision care, prescription drugs, hearing aids, and chiropractic services. This next part is an epidemic that deals with our children. I'm sure you know families with children, right? What percentage of the people in your phone do you think have kids? And who's the first person that comes to mind that just had a baby? We partnered with the Fraternal Order of Police because every 30 seconds in America, a child is abducted. And if they're not found within the first 24 hours, 93% of them never come back home. As you can see, you put an updated photo right on the front here with the date the picture was taken and your child's age. And on the inside, you're going to put in section 1 the personal information, height, weight, things like that. Section 2 is a physical description, scars, birthmarks. They're not old enough for tattoos yet, right? Section 3 is the DNA sample, a hair sample, and section 4 is all 10 fingerprints. Then you close it up, tuck it away, and Joe and Mary, God forbid the kids don't get off the school bus one day or come back from spring break, you have all their information ready to go for the police to issue an Amber Alert. Our goal is to blanket the community with these child safe kits. I'm sure you would agree that if we got these out to 1,000 families and it saved even one child, it would be worth it, right? So we need your help. Let's get this out to anyone with kids or grandkids. Here's the accidental death and dismemberment benefit that your letter talked about. So Joe, this is a living benefit that pays you $4,000 for the loss of one hand, 1 foot, or sight in one eye due to an accident, and double that amount for the loss of any two due to an accident. Mary, for you, this is a death benefit that would pay you that full $8,000 should Joe die as a result of an accident. Now, the union knows that $8,000 doesn't seem like all the money in the world, right? But if Joe died, his paycheck would die with him. And I'm sure that would put a major crunch in the budget, right? Exactly. So Joe, it looks like you wanted Mary as your beneficiary. When something happens, you're going to need our local office number. So go ahead and grab your phone and let's get that in there for you. Okay, the number is 1-800-686-0042. And while you have your phone out, one thing I have to do is get 2 contingent beneficiaries should you both die in a common accident. So I'll grab those from you right now. John Smith. Okay. And the next one, Jack Smith. And that's Smith, right? Yep. Okay. So, Joe, are you familiar with the catch-up plan? Okay, well, it's designed to take care of all the members by the end of the month. 2 big problems they've been having is, as you can imagine, some of the cards are getting lost in the mail, and some of the people you work with or go down to the Moose Club with don't have the neatest handwriting. So trying to get in contact with them isn't the easiest. Who are some of the people that you work with? So why don't we do this? Well, I put some of the other benefits together for you. Most of the members have me check on 5 to 10 of the guys you work with. I'll go back to the office and check to see if they've already been seen. If they have, no worries, but if they haven't, we'll bump them up to the top of the list to make sure they get these. What a lot of the guys do to find the number is either look in their cell, check with one of their buddies, or look it up in a phone book. Either way, if you can handle that, I'll just keep working on some things on my end real quick. So for years, these benefits you have just received were made only available to the members of exclusive groups we work with, like police, teachers, firefighters. But because of overwhelming member requests, finally the company is now allowing you to extend these same benefits to people who are closest to you. Now, this is at no cost to you and no cost to them, but it's very important you take advantage of this because we don't know how long they're going to allow you to do this. Unfortunately, you cannot extend these benefits to everyone, but they will allow you to sponsor up to 7 people. Just don't prejudge anyone because even if they have good benefits, these will help. Most people start with a friend or people closest to them, so let's do that. Now, you mentioned you had a brother and sister, so let's get this to them. What's their name? Okay, who's next? Who's next? Okay. So now, do you guys know what happens to your benefits when you leave your job, retire, or quit? No, exactly. 30 to 31 days after you do one of those 3 things, most or all of your benefits go away completely. They don't want you working all those years only to see those benefits ultimately go away. So what they did was they set up a program so you can set a little aside now so your benefits become permanent. Because you don't want to pay more for something in the long run if you don't have to, right? Exactly. I'm sure you've heard of people saying paying $600 to $700 a month just for coverage later in life. So we'll just go ahead and lock in your current age, health, and rate today as if you were 34. Now, Joe, this last service is something that you would have to qualify for and is customized, so I need to ask you a few questions to see where you're at. Has anyone in your household been diagnosed with cancer? Has anyone been hospitalized in the last 12 months? Does anyone take prescribed medications? They do? Okay, what are they? Got it. Are there any tobacco or nicotine use? Any arrests or DUIs in the last 5 years? Now, all the programs are made to be around about an hour's wage. So with that being said, what is your monthly take-home pay after taxes? How much life insurance do you have through work? Typically, they start you guys with $20,000 to $30,000, or do you pay for extra? Okay, great. Well, obviously that will go away when you leave or retire. I'm sure you guys have some outside of work, right? Or not yet? Do you guys use a credit union or a traditional bank like a Chase or a PNC? Do you have anything set up in case you were to have a heart attack, stroke, or get cancer? Do you rent or own the house? Oh, you own? How much is left on the mortgage roughly? So before I go any further, I have this mandatory read-off letter for you. It explains the enrollment process. What it's basically saying is, as if I'm going through these benefits and you're nodding your head thinking, wow, these are some great benefits, and I can see why the other members are doing this, go ahead and apply for the full program today while I'm out here. But on the flip side of that, if as I'm going through the benefits, you're thinking to yourself, these really are some great benefits, but they don't fill all the needs for me and my family right now, then they'll have you enroll in the ones that do. Either way, some or all, that decision does have to be made today during your enrollment period, in fairness to the other members waiting to enroll. Does that make sense? The good thing about these benefits is that they are pretty much a no-brainer, so you'll know one way or the other. Are you with me? So whatever you choose to do, they still need your opinion, as I mentioned, on an officer report form, a Google review. So it's important that you listen and ask questions. Joe, will you promise to stop me if you have any questions? Mary, you too? So the cancer program with death benefit, the first concern has to do with an all too common problem that no one seems to have a solution for: cancer. Guys, I'm sure you know someone, a friend, neighbor, coworker, relative, someone who's had cancer before, right? Oh, who was it, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, Aunt. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. No doubt everyone we talk to knows someone. I personally have a grandfather that just passed from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so I know what it's like. Battling cancer is not only costly physically and emotionally, but it is also leaving families financially devastated. Cancer is one of the leading causes of bankruptcy. In fact, 1 out of 2 men get cancer, or 50%, and for women that's 1 out of 3. Families spend on average $20,000 in the first year out-of-pocket expenses for treatment, and 76% of all cancer diagnoses are people over the age of 55. Treatment is improving, people are living longer, but they're dying financially. So here's what they realized. Most people have pretty good medical coverage. In fact, if you were to get cancer today, maybe 80-90% of your medical bills would be covered. Cancer doesn't care if you have good health insurance, money in the bank, or no family history. The problem is that over half of the costs related to cancer are not medical bills. Can you imagine adding $1,500 plus per month to your current bills? After hearing the facts, I'm sure you can see why they set up this cancer treatment benefit, to help you with a lot of the out-of-pocket expenses people typically don't think about, right, Joe and Mary? So 3 options have been set up for you to make claims upon the first diagnosis of cancer. The first one is bronze, and that's going to cost you $5.95 per month, and that'll give you $25,000 worth of cancer coverage. The second one is going to be silver, which will give you $50,000 worth of coverage, and that's going to cost you $11.03 monthly. The last one is gold, which is going to give you $100,000 of coverage and cost you $21.17 per month. Now, Joe, this is a scheduled benefit plan, meaning the money is paid out to you versus the doctors or hospitals when you have various procedures. Does that make sense? And this $25,000 per family member. So potentially you have, 3 different family members of tax-free cancer protection for you and your family. That's $75,000. So Joe, I would imagine that when you die, Mary, you and your children would be the ones that would handle the problem of the funeral, right? Well, Mary, do you know what the average cost of a funeral is these days? Yep, it's between $12,000 and $15,000. So when do you think the funeral director wants that money? Right. Normally the funeral home wants 50% of the balance up front and the remaining balance within 30 days. Insurance can take up to 6 months by law to pay out, and most members don't have that kind of money lying around. Even if you did, you definitely didn't set it aside for that. At this time, Mary, you and your children won't even be able to think straight, let alone have to spend hours calling insurance companies and banks trying to arrange everything. It's best to keep that money for what it's intended for anyways. So when Joe dies, you simply take your certificate to the funeral home, and most, if not everything, will be taken care of. Services, casket, embalming. So there are 3 options that have been set up for you. The first being your bronze package, which is going to give you a guaranteed death benefit of $10,000, and that's going to cost you $42.69 per month. The next will be the silver plan, which is going to be $20,000 of coverage, and that's going to cost you $85.38 a month. And the last being your gold plan, which is $30,000, and that's going to cost you $128.01 per month. So the three options, I wouldn't advise you to go into the funeral home and tell the funeral director these amounts, because if you do, guess how much your funeral is going to be. Exactly. But as you can see with the FOC, there are no dollar amounts anywhere, and it helps to put your family in control so that you can get the best deal and save a lot of money, as you get any money that is unused. So can you see why they set this up for you? This is super simple, easy to use, and super low risk. So let's be honest, Joe and Mary, we're around the same age. We probably aren't thinking about dying in the next 10 years, right? We typically think, why do we need this? And when members realized that you could actually make money on this, they loved it. Do you have anything set up for retirement? A portion of this is going to build cash value, retirement fund, and of which you can take out loans against. Worst case scenario is you pass away before retirement, and Mary's guaranteed that full FOC amount. Best case scenario, you make it to retirement and you don't need that amount of coverage anymore. You can just take the cash value that was built up in it. Can you see why they set this up? So Joe, if you die tomorrow, what happens to your paycheck? What's that? Unlike your current group benefits, the next benefit will keep Joe's paycheck coming into the home as if he was still around and still working. So Mary, you receive tax-free checks in the bronze plan of $2,000 a month for 12 months. In other words, $24,000 total. In the silver plan, you're going to receive $4,000 a month for 12 months, otherwise known as $48,000 total. And then the gold plan, you're going to receive $6,000 a month for 12 months, and that's going to amount to $72,000 of coverage. So this will buy you time. It will give you a chance to breathe and figure out what you're going to do with your life, your job, how to spend time with the kids, and what else will it allow you to do. Yeah. Joe, do you see why she's saying that? Mary, I'm sure you can see why they set this up for you, right? So besides their income, the next thing people want to do is protect their home. If you were to die during your working years, it would likely be due to what? An accident. So what they set up was a benefit of $4,000 that would pay off the mortgage in the event you were to die in an accident. Mary, I'm sure you can see why they set this up so you don't have to worry about another mortgage payment if Joe died, right? The next major benefit is for the kids. Current job benefits usually do not have anything here, so included is a $10,000 life insurance plan for each of your kids. As long as they're 18 and younger, that covers them until age 21. At age 21, there's a guarantee that they can get their own policy for 5 times as much, or $50,000. They will definitely thank you for setting this up for them. So the gold plan is $292 a month. Silver is $196 a month, and bronze is $109 a month. So, guys, I don't like to tell people what to do with their money because I don't like being told what to do with mine. However, one of the things I try to do is to treat each person I meet with like family. Joe and Mary, can I talk to you as if you were my brother or my dad? Joe and Mary, 95% of members start with the silver because they know they need something and it's the most comfortable. Did you want to do what most members do and go with the silver, or do you want to do a little bit more for your family and go for the gold? Okay, great. Unfortunately, it's not really your wallet that qualifies you, it's your health. So I need to ask you some medical questions to make sure you qualify. Have you ever been treated for alcohol abuse or AA? Have you ever taken any non-over-the-counter drugs such as cocaine or hallucinogens? Have you ever had your driver's license revoked or been arrested? Have you ever been treated for high blood pressure, strokes, or heart attacks? Have you ever been treated for diabetes, paralysis, or any brain disorders? Have you ever had arthritis or joint injuries? To the best of your knowledge, do you have any physical impairment? Have you ever been rejected for medical or hospital insurance? Have you ever been treated for cancer or tumors? Have you had a physical in the past 5 years, height and weight? Have you ever had any medical treatment or been hospitalized? Have you ever been diagnosed with a terminal illness or Alzheimer's? Have you ever been treated for asthma, sleep apnea, or any sort of respiratory disorder? Have you ever had any ulcers or any type of digestive disorder? Have you ever received a bone marrow transplant? Any kidney, prostate, or urinary disorders? Any breast or uterus diseases? Have you ever been diagnosed with rheumatoid or any types of muscular skeletal disorders? Have you ever had any loss of hearing or sight? Have you ever tested positive for HIV/AIDS? Do you ever smoke cigarettes or use any form of tobacco? If so, when did you quit? Have you ever used marijuana in the past year? Okay, I'm not the underwriter, but based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like you should be able to qualify. We are going to get you protected today, but only under one condition. You promise me if this ever becomes uncomfortable for you, please reach out to me because I can help you I can't help you if I don't hear from you. Promise? Okay, well, the only thing I need from you is a driver's license and we will get the ball rolling. This is the QR checklist, which is a mandatory checklist that we go over with all the members. It explains the enrollment process. The first thing the checklist talks about is the way the benefits are handled. Joe and Mary, the program is set up on a once-a-month computerized deduction through your banking system. Having it done this way gains you a discounted rate. The first draft of $50 will be within 24 to 48 hours. The ongoing draft date can be handled between the first and the last of the month. So which date is best for you? The enrollment process takes anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks. If accepted, you will receive your policies and a congratulatory letter welcoming you to AIL. If denied, you will receive today's deposit back and you could write to American Income and request why. If risk issued, if there is a health problem, the company will attempt to approve you anyway by adding a special risk premium. You will be notified if this happens. Video slide. Also, if you didn't think I was pushy and you thought I did a good job, would you make sure these people sit down with me? I'm going to call these people tomorrow at 10:30. If I can't reach them, it'll most likely get passed along to someone else. Do you want it to be someone else or do you want it to be me? Okay, well, my number is 414-429-4204. I don't care if you shoot them a call or a text, but let them know I'll be calling tomorrow at what time? Yep. So all I need you to tell them is I handle some of the benefits for you through the Teamsters and to sit down with me. Cool? Joe and Mary, almost everyone takes advantage of this program, like you, because the value and the cost is very small compared to the many benefits. Now, it's very rare, but sometimes a member does need to make adjustments. Could be a week, a month, or a year later. The point is that this is not a short-term fix, it's a long-term solution. And the longer you're in the program, the more value. So if this $50 is uncomfortable for you right now, let's fix it while I'm here. How does everything feel? Good? Okay, well then please make sure to keep this important program in place for your family. Thank you.